Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 27 updates and spoilers. I hope you all can see and hear me. I'm sorry I'm late, but my internet it's been terrible this season. I don't know why it's bad, but thank you all so much for being here. I see we got a lot of people here already. Nadia, Maria, Wendy and Isaac the cat, Anita Star, Linda O, Martin Luther 57, Persephone Agricola. I said your name right. Aja, No More Rim. Thank you all so much for being here. You guys are wonderful. I know, new Dancing with the Stars cast today too. I am so freaking pumped for Dylan Efron. I enjoyed him so much on the Traders, and I'm excited that he is getting the love he deserves and getting a spot on the new Dancing with the Stars cast. Yeah! There's a lot of good people to look forward to, but that was the one that jumped out at me the most. Very, very exciting. All right, so our house guests of the day, we have Monica Cameron. Monica actually asked me a very funny question too. She was asking how many notebooks I go through in a season and what we do with them after. So it depends on the notebook. So like sometimes I'll use something like on the thicker side like this, and I'll typically, if I'm using that size, it'll be like 2 notebooks per season. But this season I am using some Skinny Legend notebooks that were gifted to us by our friend Hanley. Hanley, thank you so much. And he gave us these awesome little skinny ones. And right now I'm on notebook number 4 for the season. I think I'll probably top out at 5 by the end, but it's been a journey. I like these though. They're nice. They're manageable with the thinner size. And also, what do we do with them after? We usually just recycle them. I have had people ask before if they could have them. I think we did send them out one time, but like, do you guys really want like a dusty old notebook? I don't know. But Monica, thank you again, and thank you for the excellent question. Donna Meinhardt, thank you so much for watching along with us. And Lori Lyon, thank you also for watching with us. We appreciate you all so much. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day, just send us an email at madrosed@gmail.com and we will get you on the list. Just make sure you put house guest of the day in the subject line so we can find you. Okay. I feel like the light is like flickering a little bit and it's going to drive me insane. But when we left off yesterday, I don't know if you guys can see that or if it's just on my end. I also should not look directly at the light. It's like looking at the sun. But when we left off yesterday, Ashley, Mickey, and Vince are all up on the block. Ava is important at work again this week because in some situations she could be the swing vote. Isn't it crazy that it's come down to her so many times now? That's something that she could put on her resume in the future if she gets to the end. But Keanu has been trying to lock in Ava's vote for Vince to stay. It just got brighter. And he is telling her that Rachel, Ashley, Mickey, Morgan, they were all pushing for you to go up as their placement nominee this week. You're expendable to them. You should work with us instead. Work with me and my people. But Ava wasn't sure that she could trust this information from Keanu because again, every time he brought it up, he was like, "You should vote for Vince to stay." So I mean, it definitely looks like he has an agenda here. He's not just sharing this information to be a good ally or to be a good friend to her. So Ava's not so sure what that's all about. But she did also tell Keanu, if Vinny wants my vote, he can come talk to me about it himself. Right? I don't want you just like campaigning for him. He needs to come and talk to me if he's taking this seriously. So, yeah. So then Ava met with both Rachel and Ashley separately. They ironed out a bunch of stuff. And Rachel explained she was not pushing for Ava to go up on the block. She was advocating for Ashley not to go up. Right? I mean, she really was trying to get Lauren up there, even Kelly up there. It's not like she was saying, I want Ava up. So this was a good enough explanation for Ava. She seemed cool with that. She said she got it. When she talked to Ashley, Ashley spilled some tea to Ava. She let Ava know that Morgan was contemplating using the veto on Vince this week instead of on herself. And in return, Keanu would put Lauren up on the block and then she would go. Now, they don't realize that Keanu would have pulled a switcheroo and put up Ashley instead of Lauren, even if Morgan went along with this plan and used the veto on Vince. They don't know about that part. But still, it's dirty, it's messy. Ava was shook by this information. She's like, I cannot believe how far number one Vince would go to stay in this game, but also the fact that Morgan would potentially do that to save Vince. Mm-mm. So she reports it back to Lauren. And again, Lauren already knew about Keanu and Vince's plan. And she knew that she was not actually going to be the replacement nominee, but she had to pretend here like she didn't know because it's going to look really bad if it comes out that she knew about all that. So Ava is telling Lauren, I can't trust Vince or Morgan, and I can't vote out Ashley because she had my back last week and Vince nominated me. So why would I keep Vince over Ashley when she has my back? And you can take that to the bank. So Ava also reassured Ashley and Rachel that she is still with them. She's keeping Ashley in any scenario, and she even called Ashley her Princess Diana. I still don't know exactly what she meant by that, but I love it. So, yeah, if we look at the way things were at the end of yesterday's spoiler, if it's Ashley versus Vince on the block, seems like Ashley stays. If it's Ashley versus Mickey, Ashley stays. And then if it's Mickey versus Vince, Vince stays. For a few reasons here. Number one, Ava would definitely be voting for Mickey to go. She has wanted Mickey out for weeks now. Yeah, she's still hung up on Mickey saying before that if she won HOH, that Ava would be a nominee, like a pawn for her. So ever since then, she has lost her trust in Mickey. She's also not happy about how Mickey was trying to run her HOH. So not happy with Mickey. Also, the judges, I mean, obviously Morgan wants to keep Vince, of course. Morgan is even planning on voting for Vince to stay if he's on the block against Ashley. She's already been like, I'm sorry, that's my number one. Like, I have to vote to keep him, even if he's going. So that's that. But the rest of the judges, Will, Ashley, Rachel, they're all still planning on voting for Vince to stay. Ashley seems to be the one who's like, maybe Vince should go. But Will and Rachel keep reining her back in and saying, like, no, we got to keep Vince. We have to keep the judges together for now because if we vote him out, not only are we losing that number, but we're also going to lose Morgan. She is not going to want to work with us anymore. So they're trying to keep that alliance together. I don't know that that alliance survives past this week anyway, but that's what they're going with. So anyway, let's get into the new stuff. Okay. So we have a new scandal. It's called Sandwich Gate. Oh my god. So Morgan is talking to Will in the storage room yesterday afternoon, and Morgan's like, I got attitude from Mickey because I was making Keanu a sandwich. A sandwich. And it wasn't just any old sandwich. This was one of Morgan's bagel sandwiches that she puts a lot of work into. So Will's like, get the F out of here. Like, Mickey was giving you attitude over that. Do you think Will, anytime he hears one of these conversations pop up about some stupid sandwich gate, he's just like, because that's how I feel. Why is this a thing? But Morgan recounts how earlier she was talking about making a sandwich for herself, and Keanu was like, wow, that sounds really good. Could you make one for me too? And Morgan's like, of course, she's not going to not make him a sandwich when he asks for it. She's making one anyway. So Morgan is making the bagel sandwiches, and Mickey asks, oh, who are you making the sandwich for? And then Morgan says, Keanu. And Mickey goes, mm. That was all her response was, mm. But Morgan's like, oh my God, she was so bothered by it. I don't understand it. So Will points out Mickey makes food for Keanu all the time. She makes food for everybody all the time. What's the problem? And Morgan says, yeah, it's just me making a sandwich. It doesn't mean that Keanu is my new number one now. It's so dumb. I'm sorry. It's just so dumb. But Will says Morgan was just being a nice person by making that sandwich. And Mickey is just making this so difficult on herself, right? Like, she's on the block right now. She's not doing herself any favors. So Morgan says, I don't wish for anyone to go, but I am ready for Mickey to go. She is tired of everything having to do with Mickey at this point. She was even helping Mickey pack up her stuff today. It's like if you have a house guest and they kind of like overstay their welcome and you just start like helping them, like, oh, here's your stuff. Like, let me help you get ready to go. That's basically what it was like. But anyway, Will says, Mickey has told him she does not want to be blindsided by this vote. Who does? That reminds me of Michael Scott on The Office telling Jan, like, I specifically told you not to cheat on me. So, yeah, of course, nobody wants to be blindsided by the vote. But she told Will, if you could just let me know before the blockbuster competition, that would be great. So they think it's best to tell her they're 50-50 on this vote until it gets closer. They don't want to like make any promises that they're going to have to go back on. So a little later, Mickey and Will are chatting in the wine room and they're talking about the infamous bagel sandwich. I did not see this conversation from the start, so I don't know who brought it up. But Mickey is asking what additional deals could Keanu possibly be making at this point. She's like, I have never seen Morgan cook for Keanu before. I mean, making a sandwich is not exactly like cooking. It's just making a sandwich. Like, let's get over ourselves here. But Will, of course, is going along with it because that's what he does. He goes along with whoever he's talking to, and he's like, it's been 57 days, and I've never seen it happen. I've never seen Morgan make food for Keanu. And then Will is just like, his mind is taken over by the sandwich. He's like, that sandwich was amazing. It was like an old school deli sandwich, and Keanu ate it in like 12 seconds. It was devoured. Absolutely wild. I feel like I'm losing my mind, honestly. But a little later, Mickey, Will, Ashley, and Rachel were chatting in the wine room, and these four are getting worried that Morgan could be switching over to Keanu's side of the house because of the sandwich. I mean, they did discuss the sandwich a bit. Mickey, she's not happy about the sandwich situation. But no, there's other stuff too. Morgan has kind of been moving in that direction. Maybe not completely, but like she's warming up to that side. I have heard her talking about how she does not want to win the next HOH competition because she doesn't want to have to show any cards. If she wins, obviously she doesn't want to put up like Rachel, Ashley, Will, anybody like that. But like she also does not want to have to put Kelly or Lauren up on the block. Oh, and I believe she said this to Will, but Will, doesn't want to share information with his allies, I guess. This would be a good thing to share for sure. But yeah, I haven't heard him share that bit of info yet with the judges other than Morgan. All right. I guess he's afraid it's going to get back to her. I don't know. But Mickey brings up how Morgan has been hanging out a lot with Vince and Keanu, also with Lauren, of course. And Rachel's like, I don't know. Morgan could be in some sort of four-person alliance with Vince, Keanu, Lauren. Maybe Kelly is like a side piece for that. That would give them 5. They would have the numbers. 5 votes. That's very powerful at this point in the game. So they're all freaking out. They're like, oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. So Ashley says, if you think about it, though, that whole side would fall apart if Vince goes. Listen to Ashley. Take out Vince. That will solve a lot of your problems. Of course, like there's still going to be people from that group that are working together. They were talking about how Lauren and Kelly have gotten super tight. They're obviously still going to work together. Kelly and Keanu are pretty tight. So they're still going to have numbers over there, but losing Vince would be a huge blow to that group. Guys, listen to Ashley. Listen to Ashley. So a little later, Vince and Rachel are chatting in the gym. And Rachel says, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Because obviously, we have our alliance, the judges, and we're trying to keep you this week. And Vince says, yes, I feel good about that. That's yes. But he says, I need me or Ashley to win the blockbuster competition so that Mickey will go. So he also says, if Ashley and I both make it through this week, then the decision that I made last week to protect the alliance will have paid off because he feels like the reason he's up there this week is because he didn't put Rachel up on the block, right? He didn't do what Keanu wanted. And he's like, obviously, Keanu doesn't know that we're working together. So he doesn't know, again, he doesn't know why I did that. But if we're both able to make it through this week, then it was worth it. So Rachel is asking Vince, what happens moving forward? Are you going to forgive Keanu? And Vince is like, oh, I really don't know how to go about it. Keanu really hurt me this week. He risked my life in the game to make a statement, especially this week, the week before jury starts, when he knows how badly I want this and how badly I need it. So, yeah, he says, I'm not happy with Keanu, obviously, but he says, Morgan is my number one. Okay. And Rachel's asking, well, what does Morgan want to do moving forward? And Vince says, well, if I go home, I would like to think that Morgan would be hell bent on taking out Keanu. And Rachel's like, yeah, we all will. Sure, whatever. But Vince says, I don't even want to think past Thursday. I just want to focus on making it through this week. AKA, he doesn't want to divulge any info to Rachel that he doesn't have to, right? Because he knows if he says too much, Rachel could potentially use that against him in the future. So he's like, yeah, I just can't think past Thursday right now. I need to make it through this week. So Rachel's like, sure, I'm good with that, whatever. Then she brings up, I do have to ask you about something though. She says, Mickey has been planting seeds that you, Morgan, and Keanu are like a thing. You've been hanging out a lot together. What's going on there? So Vince is denying them working together. And I mean, we know that Vince and Keanu are working together, but it's not like a solid thing with Morgan. But he says Morgan was Keanu's target this week. And he put me up next to Morgan, not only to prove a point, to make his big statement to the House, but also to ensure that I wouldn't use the veto on her. So he clearly doesn't trust us. He put us both up on the block. And he says, I think that Keanu does want to split us up. I don't think he cares whether I stay or go this week. And Vince also says the reason why they're always hanging out is because Morgan and Vince will be trying to talk, and then Keanu comes in, and we can't just leave. We can't just leave the room. Sure. So Vince says, I just can't see us working with Keanu after this week. So Rachel's like, oh, okay, cool. I feel so much better now. I just wanted to check. I know that Mickey is trying to fight for her life in the game right now, but it was a scary thought. The thought of you guys all working together. You could work with Lauren, Kelly, and then you got like a nice little group there. So Rachel is feeling better that Vince said that's not a thing, because Vince never lies. But Vince says, if I do go against the alliance, I know that would be bad for me. I know that I would lose 3 jury votes: Rachel, Will, Ashley. I know it's not a wise thing for me to do. So Rachel thanks him for talking, and she says, I feel so much better now. And Vince is like, I think we should get the judges all together again to meet up soon and talk. Okay. So after this conversation, Vince checks in with Keanu in the storage room, and he tells him all about his chat with Rachel. And Vince says, I feel like Rachel was trying to set me up. She was asking me how I feel about you now. And, she's trying to catch me saying something. But I tried to give her vague statements. And he's like, what am I supposed to say? F Keanu? And then she runs to you and tells you that. Or if I say I forgive him, she's gonna go to someone else and say that you and I are working together and we're closer than ever before. So Vince did not want to do that. So he's like, I just gave her vague blanket statements the same way that you do for her. And he's like to Keanu, I know that you're telling her you don't care who goes this week, but like, I know you want me to stay. I know you don't want me to go. And he really doesn't. So Keanu says, yeah, Rachel's going to be backed into a huge corner when you stay this week. Okay. So a little later, Vince chats with Mickey. This conversation was freaking Wild. So Vince tells Mickey, I have no relationship with Ashley. And if I win the blockbuster competition, I will vote for you to stay. I give you my word. And he also says, hand on the Bible. He doesn't actually have his hand on a Bible, but he says, hand on the Bible. I swear I would never do that to you. I would never evict you the week before a jury. This weasel is gonna weasel. He is not planning on keeping Mickey. But yeah, he's promising his vote to her. These two were both lying their asses off to each other in this conversation because Mickey was also saying, like, oh yeah, if I win the blockbuster and I'm voting this week, it's gonna be really tough for me to have to decide between you and Ashley. You know, she feels like maybe I don't really want to vote. Maybe it would be better if I am not voting. So she was saying, if I feel like I have the votes locked in to stay, maybe I don't try as hard in the blockbuster competition. So then I won't have to make that decision. I won't have to piss people off with how I vote. So she's saying, I'm not gonna maybe not necessarily throw the competition, but not do her best in it. Do we actually believe that Mickey would just like not try for the blockbuster? I just feel like that's insane. Like, I know Mickey is a lot, but like, would she actually do that? I have a hard time believing it. She lies about everything. She lied about buying a hat from T-Core's business. She lies about everything. But Vince, hearing this, is just like, oh, you're not going to try that hard in the comp? Oh my God. So he is freaking pumped up about this. So later, the house guests took a little brain break to play Big Booty together again. The whole whatever. Yeah. They still have no rhythm. They're still going way too fast. But most importantly, they still have no flavor. I wish they could see the clip from season 13 of like how it should be done. But yeah, they also played this word association game where they were like passing around this fake loaf of bread and they had to like somebody would say a word and then you have to say a word associated with that and so on and so forth. I was fine with the break from the game for a while. Plus there was a really funny moment when they were all saying like bread words like dough, bread, loaf, whatever. And then somebody said yeast and then it got to Ava and she said infection. Oh, Ava, never change. But anyway, later, back to the game. Morgan was still complaining about Sandwichgate last night. She was telling Ashley about it, and Morgan's like, I'm over Mickey. And she also complains that Mickey is lying about her vote. Morgan says, Mickey told me that she would vote to keep Vince, but I know she's lying. Okay, so let's like unpack this a little bit here. Morgan is saying this to Ashley, who is on the block with Vince. So she's saying to Ashley, I'm mad that Mickey is lying about her vote and she wouldn't actually vote you out. But Ashley, of course, is not happy to hear that Mickey was saying this. She's like, why would she lie about that? Like, that's really messed up. Would she actually vote me out? So Ashley is a little bit freaked out by this, the fact that Mickey is doing this. And they know that Mickey did this last week too. She promised her vote to Catherine and then she voted her out, right? Ooh, so Mickey really does lie about like everything. But the judges did end up meeting last night. It really was nothing groundbreaking. They were basically just saying Mickey's got to go. Vince or Ashley have to win the blockbuster so that Mickey can go. Yeah. The rest of the night, Kelly was telling Vince she thinks that she could get Mickey to vote out Ashley this week over Vince. Like, where does she get this from? This is like last week when Kelly thought that she could convince Mickey to vote out Ava. Like, where is this coming from? I don't know. But she was saying if we can take out Ashley, that's going to weaken Rachel. Vince didn't seem too confident that Kelly would be able to pull this off. But they did also talk about keeping Mickey if it's Mickey versus Ashley, again for the same reason, to weaken Rachel. But like, I don't know where they think they're getting these votes from. Just because you want it to happen doesn't mean you have the votes. You need 4 votes. So, whatever. Another thing, Some of the house guests are now referring to Morgan and Vince as a showmance. Uh-oh. I mean, they basically are though. They might not be making out, but like they're hugging all up on each other all day, all night in front of everyone. And not only in front of the world, but in front of their fellow house guests, which definitely will have some game implications there. Also, like Morgan almost used the veto on Vince this week. It's a lot, but Rachel and Mickey were talking about how they got rid of one showmance and now they have another one to deal with. Yeah, I mean, basically, right? But okay, let's talk about today. Kelly is a psycho. She was talking to Keanu in the kitchen at one point today, and she was like, I don't think it would be outside of the parameters of this game for me to grind up ants and put them in the food. What is actually wrong with her? Why would you even say that? I'm sure, or at least I hope she wasn't actually serious about that, but like, you never know with her. That's just too much. If I was in that house and she did that, I would lose my shit on her. But moving on, Vince was out on the campaign trail today, and Vince was talking to Will. And Vince is saying, I'm not actually cool with Keanu. I'm just acting like it. But they talk about how Keanu seems to think that he's good with everyone now, but he's not. Everyone will put him up. He's Delulu. And Vince was also talking about how Mickey was telling him she would maybe not try as hard in the blockbuster competition if she thought she had the votes secured. So Vince was like, I think we should really make it seem like she has those votes so that she won't play as hard, right? And then we can get her out of here. So of course, Will is going along with everything, of course. But I think Will is kind of over Mickey at this point. Like he wouldn't mind her going this week. But then Vince starts talking about how he really needs this. He needs to stay in this game. He needs to make it to jury so that he can find his path in life. I'm so sick of hearing about this. But Vince is talking about how miserable he was working 9 to 5 jobs. He says he worked in a 9 to 5 or different 9 to 5s for the past 13 years. And he says the most terrible feeling in the world is to be working a job that I didn't like, just working for the weekend and only getting a crappy paycheck for it. I can think of a lot of worse things than that, but Vince was like, I want to try photography. I'm going to need money to buy good equipment. And then I want to travel. Maybe I can be a travel photographer. It was a lot. It was a lot. It would not make me want to vote for him to stay. Let's just say that. And I'm sure Will was waiting for this conversation to be over. I'm sure Will did not want to hear about how hard it is for Vince because he wants to work a job that he likes. But Will chats with Ava after the competition and or the competition. After that conversation, he's telling her about Vince's pitch and Ava's still saying there is no way that she is keeping Vince over Ashley. She's not going to do it. She says Vinny will say anything to stay in this house. He can talk himself out of hell. He is Vinny the Lip Punani. So Vince talks to Ava next. Oh, when Will and Ava were whispering about Vince, he like came in and it was like, oh, hi. But yeah, Vince is campaigning to Ava and he manages to somehow make things worse for himself talking to Ava. Yikes. He's going through his whole spiel about how Keanu really put his game at risk this week just to make a statement and how messed up that was. And now Keanu is campaigning for Vince to stay. And Vince says this is going to make people want to do the opposite. Yeah. Historically, it has not helped to have Keanu campaigning for you to stay. It's usually kind of the kiss of death. So Vince is not thrilled about that. But Ava tells him, I do want you here. I want you to make it to the jury. But she says Ashley has had her back. So she basically tells Vince, if you're up against Ashley, I'm keeping Ashley. But she does say, I'm hoping that Mickey will stay on the block so that I can just vote her out. And she also says she's going to go with her gut on eviction night. She's going to vote the way that she wants. So at one point in this conversation, Vince says, I really want to win competitions. I'm going to be going hard to win as many of these comps as I can. And he says, I don't think Ashley even wants to win any competitions. That's definitely not true, but he says if Ashley doesn't win, she can make a bunch of promises to people and then not follow through on them. She doesn't have any power. Or Vince can make a bunch of promises to people, win competitions, and then not follow through on them. How many times have we seen Vince go back on promises, right? But anyway, Vince tells Ava, if you keep me, I will owe you my life in this game. I will protect you like you've never been protected before. Like I'm going to do everything I can to help you in this game. So Vince, yeah, that's a lot. But Ava asks Vince, if you do win HOH, who would you put up? And Vince says, well, this is where things go south quite a bit. Vince says Keanu and Kelly would be easy nominees for me. But then, like, also, if Rachel and Ashley or Mickey, whichever one of them is still here, if they come after me, then maybe I go after them. So Ava takes this in and she's like, okay. So this combo's over. After Ava talks to Lauren, and Ava is heated. She is pissed off. So Ava tells Lauren again, I'm sorry, but Vinny will say anything to stay in this house. And Ava is ranting about how Vince just lied to her. He told me that he would put Keanu and Kelly up because he thinks that that's what I want to hear. Now, she has definitely heard from other people that Vince would target Rachel. So the fact that he didn't say this to her, that's a gigantic red flag. So Ava's like, I'm sorry, he's a liar. She keeps calling him a son of a bitch, a son of a bitch, a son of a biscuit. And she just keeps telling Lauren, I'm sorry, but like I don't trust him. I can't keep him here. I don't want him here. And like I'm voting him out. And Lauren's just like, she's that meme of Pikachu with the mouth open, just like yeah, because Lauren was hoping that she'd be able to convince Ava to vote to keep Vince, but like Ava keeps moving further and further and further away from that. So, yeah, that dream is going down the drain for Lauren. So, Ava also talks to Will again. She lets him know she's not happy with Vince after that combo. And she says, I know Vince is saying he's unemployed, but I have some new potential jobs for him. He could be a bullshit artist, taking a page out of the History of the World book, or maybe he can do something in the service industry, like lip service. Ooh, Ava's on fire. Ava's on fire. But the eviction is tomorrow. And as of right now, well, actually, things have not really changed that much since the last assessment I gave you. As of now, Ashley, it looks like, would stay in all scenarios. She has the votes, she could win the blockbuster, whatever. If it's Vince versus Mickey, it's still looking like Mickey leaves, possibly unanimously at this point. Before, Will and Ashley were both considering giving her sympathy votes, but now Ashley, no way. Ashley is so done with Mickey. Now that she's heard that Mickey is promising her vote to Vince, even if that's not true, she's not happy with Mickey. Will is kind of still considering it. He just really doesn't want Mickey to go out with 0 votes, but he's also pissed about Mickey and her lies. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It looks like it will be either Mickey or Vince leaving tomorrow, depending on who wins the blockbuster competition. So we'll see what happens there. But I want to thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate you all. And I want to give a special thanks to all of our super chatters. So let's see who we got. Nomura Rin, thank you so much. And she wants to know, when are we going to see your mom? Oh, hi, miss her. She's in the other room right now, but you will see her tonight in the episode recap. Shawnee, come here. Shandi is being extra chatty today. Let's see if we can get him to say hello. You want to say hello to everybody?
I would ask now. Hi, everybody.
Come lower.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So hello from Shandi. Nomara Rin also wants to know, how many pens do I go through? That's a great question. These work really well. So normally I'm into the oh god, what are they called? The like pilot ones. I can't remember the exact name, but it's like pilot. But we got a different brand this year. It's very similar. It's Z-Grip. They're similar. Pilot is my number one, but these are pretty good too. They're similar. I would say I normally go through probably like 3 to 4 pens per season. It's not a ton, but it's not nothing. So it's a lot of writing. A lot of writing. But thank you so much, Nomura Rin. Rob Madden, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, Rob and Sumner, of course. Rob says, Sumner and I ordered a gift for you, your mother, and Kristen, and you can open it on the vlog, and the estimated delivery is September 16th to the 18th. Thank you so much. You guys are way too good to us, and we cannot thank you enough. So thank you to Rob and Sumner. We'll be on the lookout. Josh D, thank you so much. Josh says, hope it's Ashley versus Vince so they can vote out Vince. I know. So out of the 3 nominees, I want Ashley to stay the most, but I do feel like she has the votes. So I'm kind of hoping that she stays on the block because that will mean that Vince is going. Because again, if Ashley comes down and it's Mickey versus Vince, I think Mickey is going. And I would love to see Vince leave. So yeah, I agree. I would like to see Ashley stay up there with Vince. Please. Thank you again, Josh. True Teddy, thank you so much. True Teddy says the theme of the season so far is your main target winning safety, and your ally that you nominated goes home based on the trend. Vince goes next. I hope you're right. I really do. It has been the trend so far. I mean, these people have no one to blame but themselves for putting their own allies up on the block. Why has that been a thing this season? It's absolutely insane to me, but here we are, right? So let's hope the trend continues. Don MH302, thank you so much for the super chat. You are awesome. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. We will be back tonight for the episode recap. I'm very excited that Angela will be back on our screens tonight. So looking forward to that. Okay. Everybody's saying hello to Shawnee. My brother's the best. We'll see you later. Have a great evening. And until next time, much love. Bye, everybody.